Hi everyone, welcome to Gallant IAS. This is Let's Score 120 Plus in Prelims 2021 series. And here we'll be solving a model question from Indian polity, and through that we will help you to learn some core facts and concepts to help your prelims preparation. And the question for today is, consider the following statements. A member of parliament can also be appointed as Central Information Commissioner provided he or she has the required qualification. 2. The Protection of Human Rights Act 1993 provides for the establishment of human rights courts in every district. Whichever statements given above is or are not correct. Okay, we have to find out the not correct one. So regarding an MP, see the qualifications for a Central Information Commission is he or she should be a person of evidence in public life with wide knowledge in experience in law, science and technology, social service, management, journalism, mass media, administration, or so on. So see, please note on the qualifications of various officers in our country. Okay, among that, one thing you must note down: an MP cannot be a Central Information Commissioner. If he or she has the required qualifications, not an issue. An MP cannot be a Central Information Commissioner or a State Information Commissioner. That is clearly mentioned. Okay, so statement number one is said to be wrong. Why? Because it says that an MP can also be appointed as Central Information Commissioner provided he she has the required qualification. No, an MP or an MLA or MLC, that is a member of parliament or a member of state legislature, cannot be a Central or State Information Commissioner. Fine. So one is wrong. Regarding two, the Protection of Human Rights Act provides for establishment of human rights courts in every district. That's a correct statement. See, based on this act, that is the Protection of Human Rights Act only, National Human Rights Commission and State Human Rights Commission is established. I repeat once again, National Human Rights Commission and State Human Rights Commission are established based on this Protection of Human Rights Act of 1993 only. And in that, it also says that a human rights court is to be established in every district. But one thing you have to note down is that that human rights court are established by the state government only. Okay, that is state government can establish human rights courts in consultation with the Chief Justice of concerned High Court. This please note down. Okay, so statement number two is right, one is wrong. Since we have to find out the not correct one, answer becomes A1 only. Fine. Consider the following statements. Article 111 mentions about the powers of president when a bill passed by the parliament is sent to him for assent. The office of Lieutenant Governor of Union Territory is similar to that of office of governor in a state. Yeah. Article 111 mentions about the veto power of president. Okay. We know normally there are four kinds of vetoes, that is absolute veto, that is withholding the bill, withholding the sense rejecting the bill will not become an act. Okay, suspensive veto means it can be overridden by the legislature by a ordinary majority. Qualified veto means it can be overridden by a legislature using a higher majority. Next is pocket veto. Pocket veto means taking no action, keeping the bill pending indefinitely for a long period. That is what meant by pocket veto. So these are the four kinds of vetoes usually in our modern times. But Indian president can use absolute veto, suspensive veto, as well as pocket veto. This qualified veto is not there for Indian president. I repeat once again, Indian president can use absolute veto, that is withholding the bill, suspensive veto, that is returning the bill, and if after passing it by an ordinary majority, coming back, president must sign. Pocket veto, keeping the bill pending indefinitely for a long time, that is taking no action. This power of president is mentioned under Article 111 of the Constitution. So statement number one is correct. Fine. The office of Lieutenant Governor of Union Territory is similar to that of office of Governor in a state. No. See, Governor is the constitutional head of a state, but Lieutenant Governor is only an agent of the center. See, Governor of a state enjoys some discretionary powers at its own, but Lieutenant Governor is subordinate to the President of India or subordinate to the central government. So it is not at all similar to that of the governor in a state. Okay. So statement number 2 is wrong. So 1 is right, 2 is wrong. Our answer becomes option A, 1 only. Which among the following statements is or are correct? The Council of Ministers continues to hold the office even after the dissolution of the Lok Sabha. 2. The Vice President of India should not be a member of either house of the Parliament. 3. Deputy Ministers in the Central Council of Ministers can be given independent charge of any ministry. See, regarding statement number 1, we always need a Council of Ministers headed by PM. Why? To aid and advise the President. See, the President cannot act according to his or her discretion. President is bound by the advice of Council of Ministers. So, we always need a Council of Ministers to function. Okay, so even if the Lok Sabha get dissolved, then also the Council of Ministers continues to hold office till the next Council of Ministers assumes charge by to aid and advise the President. So statement number 1 is because Supreme Court held that there must be always a Council of Ministers. The President do some action without the advice of Council of Ministers, he considers to be invalid. That is mentioned under our Constitution. So that we always need a Council of Ministers. So statement number 1 is right here. Okay. The Vice President of India should not be a member of either house of the Parliament. That's also correct. See, even the Vice President of India is the ex-officio chairman of Rajya Sabha, he or should not be a member of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Okay. See, two main conditions. The main conditions of office of Vice President of India is he must not be a member of either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha and he must not hold any office of profit. So statement number 2 is also right here. Regarding statement number 3, the Deputy Ministers in the Central Council of Ministers can be given independent charge of any ministry. See, the Council of Ministers consists of Cabinet Ministers, Minister of State, Deputy Minister as well as Parliamentary Secretaries. These are the most important powerful ministers, that is Cabinet Ministers. Okay, they have an independent charge of ministry and they usually head the important ministries like, say, example, Defense, Foreign Affairs, Home Affairs. Okay, all these are headed by the Cabinet Ministers. Next to the Cabinet Minister, the rank is Minister of State. They can be given independent charge. They may not be given independent charge. Okay. Deputy Ministers, at any cost, they are not given independent charge. Not given independent charge. They usually work under the Cabinet Minister or Minister of State. Next to Deputy Minister comes the Parliamentary Secretaries. Okay, so at any case, the Deputy Minister is not given independent charge. In Cabinet meeting, Cabinet Ministers are present. Okay, also a Minister of State is also invited, provided he or she is having an independent charge. That's what you have to know about these various ranks of Council of Ministers. Okay, so third statement is wrong here. Since you have to find out the correct statement, our answer becomes option A, that is 1 and 2 only. See, if you know that the Deputy Ministers cannot be given an independent charge, 3 should be wrong. You can eliminate B, you can eliminate C, you can eliminate D. Directly we can reach the answer, that is option A, 1 and 2 only. Fine. Which committee on Panchayat Raj institutions recommended for replacing 3-tier system with a 2-tier system of Panchayat Raj systems? Okay. Ashok Mehta Committee, Balwant Rai Mehta Committee, G.V.K. Rao Committee, L.M. Singhvi Committee. See, you must note down some of the important recommendations of various committees. Not only regarding this Panchayat Raj institution, but also various committees you may come across during our preparation. So, important recommendations, say some Sarkaria Commission or Punchi Commission, Rajamanar Commission, like this, many commissions are there, Fasali Commission. Okay, so important recommendations are important for us from prelims perspective. Questions can be asked. Also, you can quote these recommendations, the ARC recommendations like this, or Law Commission report. All these things you can quote in your mains answers as well. Okay, so which committee recommended for replacing the 3-tier system with the 2-tier system of government? Sorry, 2-tier system of Panchayat Raj institutions? That is Ashok Mehta Committee. Okay, and which committee recommended for having a 3-tier system? That is Balwant Rai Mehta Committee. Okay, and which committee recommended for granting constitutional status to Panchayat Raj institutions? Constitutional status, that is L.M. Singhvi Committee. So some important recommendations, so some important committees, please note down, because we can expect those kind of questions in our preliminary examinations as well. So Ashok Mehta committee recommended for replacing three-tier system with two-tier system of Panchayat institutions. Answer is option A. Fine.